capital city Georgetown. Political, legislative, economics, and current affairs. The People's National Congress Reform, PNCR, presents Nation Watch.
And welcome to Facing the Nation. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you very much for joining us today. Before I even go further into this program, just a report and to let you know, our viewers and the public at large know that the presidential candidate, of course, the presidential candidate for APNU AFC, and also the leader of the People's National Congress Reform is currently out of the jurisdiction. He is in the U.S. Visiting and talking to our constituents there, all part of the run-up and the preparations for the 2015 regional and general elections. He will be back next week. On today's program, we're talking a little bit of everything, but we're going to start off with the issue of security, with specific focus on the execution of Mr. Crum-Ewing, who was laid to rest earlier this week. The panel will focus on the fact that we'll be talking about the PPPC's political culture when it comes to election, and also we're going to be touching on, as I said before, the assassination of Crum-Ewing. On the panel with me, experienced panel as usual. I know you enjoyed and you were very informed by Miss Annette Ferguson last week. She's back with me today again to represent a partnership for national unity in every area that she works. Welcome back, Miss Ferguson.
Thank you very much, Malika, and good afternoon to you viewers there in TV land.
All right. And of course, welcome to the chairman of the People's National Congress Reform. He is also the deputy speaker of the National Assembly and an attorney at law. Mr. Basil Williams, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Malika.
All right. Great.
Nice being here. Good day, viewers.
Great to have you. On this note, before I show you the clip that I'm about to show is part of a very small piece of Mr. David Grange's presentation last week in Linden. That would have been our first major rally, which was held in Linden on Saturday. For those of you who are not able to make it, this piece will give you an insight about Mr. Grange's plans, his ideas, and all of that regarding Guyana as we head into the 2015 regional and general election. So take a look at this clip. This is a piece taken from the rally that we had last Saturday at Linden, and when we come back, we'll chat some more.
Put your hands in the air now, put your hands in the air.
You're asking me if I voted this year. Me, crazy. This is a stupid question. I stood in the game. May 11th, I voted change because it's time. Respect your vote.
Tell them this is our time. Tell them this is our time. Are you ready for victory? Are you ready for love and unity? That is our message tonight. We are better together than being apart. 40 months ago, Linden, you remember, you came out in your numbers. 11,358 of you went out to vote for APNU, and 1,032 persons voted for the Alliance for Change. Together we got 81% of the vote in Region 10. This time we're going to get 99% with one spoil vote. It's a total whitewash. Better together, we will do better together. 28 days ago, on the 14th of February, my brothers and sisters, we in APNU and AFC realized that we were better together. We were together in the National Assembly for 3 years. We were together when we passed a no-confidence motion in Clement Rohi for the murder of 3 citizens of Linden. We were together when we passed that motion. There's a motion outstanding for Clement Rohi to demit office. We were together when we elected Raphael Trotman, the leader of the Alliance for Change, to be Speaker of the National Assembly. We had to be together. We were together when we demanded local government elections by the 1st of August 2014. We were together. We were together all the time when we decided to pass a no-confidence motion in the whole government. We were together all the time for 3 years. We have worked. And now we realize that we are better together. We will be together. Are you married? Till death do us part. We will be together on the 26th of May 2016 when Moses Nagamutu and David Granger come back to celebrate the 50th anniversary of independence. And right now, at this moment in time, it is important that APNU and AFC come together. Because last week, Wednesday, the 4th of March, I told the launch of the APNU AFC coalition, and let me quote from the Holy Bible what I said at the launch. I said then, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of the world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Brad Ups, they go and kill Courtney. Who killed him? The rulers of the darkness of the world. Do not underestimate them. Every skin teeth in love, no matter the skin teeth cost $2.1 million. Do not believe that these people are laughing with you. They're laughing at you. Brother Courtney was out with us when we picketed the office of the president demanding local government elections. Brother Courtney's father is a member of my group in Meadowbrook. I feel hurt, I feel wounded, and the whole nation should feel wounded that the rulers of the darkness of the world have resurfaced. Where did they come from? They were there 10 years ago when Bar Jagdeo was president. They were called the Phantom Squads. Now Bar Jagdeo has resurfaced, and the rulers of the darkness of the world have resurfaced. We are not going to tolerate political assassination. When their own Minister of Agriculture, Saturday Osaw, was assassinated, up to now they have not even had an inquest, not an inquiry. The rulers of the darkness of the world. Pay attention to everything Jagdeo says. My brothers and sisters of Linden, we wrestle against a dishonest government. The PPP is a dishonest government. Ask Sharma Solomon the promises they made over the last 3 years. They don't keep their word. Go back to their manifestos. They haven't fixed the road between Ishuni and Linden. They're never going to fix it. You have to put in government in place that is going to give you a proper road. They will never give you a highway between Lethem and Linden. You have to elect a government that is going to fix your infrastructure, and that government is an APNU AFC government. We wrestle against dishonesty. My brothers and sisters of Linden, the PPP is desperate. We wrestle against a band of desperados. Ramatar, after only 3 years as president, prorogued parliament. Why did he prorogue parliament? He frightened. Ramatar has not convened the National Assembly. The people that you voted for on the 28th of November 2011, the people that you gave a majority to in the National Assembly, Ramatar has not convened parliament for 8 months. Nowhere else in the Western Hemisphere that could happen. Barack Obama can't do that. But Ramatar is frightened. He cannot convene parliament. He prorogued and dissolved parliament because he's frightened your voice. He's frightened the voice of the people. He is ruling by decree. And decree is the last refuge of a dictator. He has denied local government elections because he frightened. He has refused to assent to bills which the National Assembly has passed because he frightened. My brothers and sisters, worst of all, we wrestle against a dangerous PPP. We wrestle against the resurgence of the Phantom Squad. Please do not ignore this warning. Brother Courtney Crum-Ewing was the first to fall. Do not let any more brothers and sisters fall to the PPP government. Bharat is back. Tell them this is. Tell them this is. Tell them this is our time. Hands up high. Everybody put your hands up high. Yeah. Oh, put your hands up high. Everybody put your hands up high. Yeah. Well, this is my time now. The time when everybody meets everybody. The time has come. The time when every creed and race will smile as one. Hey. Well, everybody, let me see you put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air now. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands up. Yes, this is our time. Tell them this is our time. Tell them this is our time. Tell them this is our time. 365 days. We've been preparing for 365 days. Everyone is ready for the streets and highways. Rolling with the color scheme to face the sun rays. Yeah. Huh. I've been waiting, yeah, so long. To cross the stage of life and sing this song. Cause we all are wow. Everybody join along. Yeah. Huh. Well, everybody put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air now. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands in the air. Put your hands up. Well, this is our time.
It certainly is time. Of course, it is time. Is the team, the campaign team for APNU AFC as we head into the 2015 regional and general elections. As I said earlier, we're talking about a lot of stuff today, including the PPPC's political culture when it comes to elections, and also we will talk about the assassination of Crum-Ewing, and you heard part of it in the presidential candidate's speech. Of course, as I said earlier, that was last Saturday in the mining town of Linden when our first major rally for the season was held. The next stop would be Berbice, and of course that is WIM at Berbice, and that would be next Sunday. But you'll hear more about that as the days and the next week progress. Mr. Williams, as we discuss the political culture, PPPC's political culture, as we're already in this campaign season, what are your thoughts on some of what you're already seeing on the ground?
Well, the political culture really it has been, I would say, for the major part of the tenure of the PPP, and that is extrajudicial killings, rampant killings that are mostly not investigated. Nothing is accounted for. You cannot find the killers. So much so that it appears that as they're about to leave office, yet another one surfaces, and that's in the case of Courtney, of course. You know, it's nearly a decade and a half now that Guyana has suffered the scourge of these killings, and up to now, not one commission of inquiry into these deaths have ever been commissioned by the president of this country or by the government. And we believe that is part of their culture. Even a minister of government was killed and no commission of inquiry was held into that killing too. So you've seen the culture. It straddled almost most of the tenure of the PPPC. And this one with Crum-Ewing, already you're hearing songs that they can't find this person and they don't have any evidence, none of that. And so it is deja vu. And it would mean that if there are no persons found, if the investigations, according to them, lead nowhere, that we'll have to go the route that we had to go years ago. And that is go to the court and get an order to constitute the magistrates as coroners to conduct inquests into these killings, because the killings are unnatural, and the inquest would be the medium to determine, for us to find out what exactly happened at the death of Courtney. So the culture is still here. They observe the law in the breach. There's no rule of law, and that's one of the major planks that we will have to restore. We will have to restore the rule of law come the 12th of May, after the victory of the Partnership for National Unity and Alliance for Change.
Many believe that Crum-Ewing was killed. One of the reasons he was killed is to silence other activists and people who may actually want to go out there and say to the public, you know, it is time to vote the PPP out. Do you get the sense that there is that fear among our people, or are they refusing to buy into that fear coming because of Crum-Ewing's assassination?
Well, Crum-Ewing's assassination, as you know, the circumstances on which he was killed, it was in a dark place, a dark street, and he was alone. And obviously it was a dastardly, cowardly act. But campaigning for elections is done by parties. Like, we have a mass-based party of ours, and the other political parties. You see, it would appear that Courtney might have appeared to all and sundry that he was on his own, and he was actually doing his thing alone, because you saw he was outside the Attorney General's chambers calling for the resignation of the Attorney General and Annette for almost 3 months by himself.
Did that make him vulnerable, an easy target?
Well, anybody could be a target, but I mean, he was there. He wasn't he didn't say that he was in association with any political group or any social grouping or whatever. He was just doing it by himself, and he has a constitutional right to do those things too. He has a right to demonstrate peacefully under our Constitution. He has a right to speak freely. He has a right to move freely. He has a right to join any political party of his choice. He has a right to life and not to have it snuffed out in that manner. And he has a right to the protection of the law on our Constitution. So, in one fell swoop, that act has impugned all those constitutional rights of a Guyanese citizen that are guaranteed by our Constitution.
Let's talk about Commission of Inquiry. At present, there are several opposition supporters who believe that the government has wasted monies in the past months in terms of the prolonging of the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry. Now, when APNU AFC takes the reins of government, how would you explain to the public, especially if you're going to have a commission of inquiry into all of these killings, how would you explain to the public that this would be done not in a manner that is being done now, whereby the COI is being conducted into the death of Walter Rodney?
Well, let me say this, that when you examine the Rodney Commission of Inquiry, how its origins, you will see that it was all steeped in deceit. Because you would recall that the president told his nation that he was in Georgia and he spoke with Mrs. Rodney, and she requested of him that he should hold his inquiry. Well, Mrs. Rodney came and testified, and she never said anything. She never corroborated that statement. In fact, she said she received a call from the office of the president. And so what has happened is that the president said she requested that the WPA and the PNC be excluded from participating in setting up this commission of inquiry. So you saw from the outset, you would have seen the subterfuge there. And that is against a backdrop where in the parliament a decision was taken by resolution that all the parties involved would be part and parcel of setting up this commission of inquiry so that you would have an objective inquiry. But what you had now, with the PP alone constituting this inquiry, they alone had picked the commissioners, and you have two of the commissioners, as you know, we had complained that they were tainted by bias, and they refused to step down or recuse themselves. And we also spoke about the terms of reference. We signaled very early to this nation that by looking at upon a proper perusal of the terms of reference of the inquiry, you will see that it's designed to go on a witch hunt. And it was targeting a specific political party, the People's National Congress Reform government at that time. And so it really did not lend itself to arriving at a proper resolution as to how Dr. Walter Rodney met his death. We have been vindicated because the inquiry has not been completed, yet the president and the other officials of the government have been using their perception of what was said at the Commission of Inquiry for political purposes.
Okay, all right. Before we come off.
So any inquiry under our government obviously would be broad-based.
Okay.
Inclusive, as we are inclusive, as we have shown the world that we are inclusive, we have been prepared to include other parties to come and join with us, and only recently we have also included the AFC in our coalition.
Now, before I come to MP Ferguson, Annette Ferguson, do you have any confidence at all? I mean, general elections are just around the corner, and most of Guyana, the majority of us, were hoping that after May 11th, we wouldn't have to deal with the PPPC on a governmental level any longer. But while we wait on that, while we usher that in, do you have any confidence at all that there will be some sort of announcement by the Guyana Police Force saying that, look, we have discovered this person or the persons who are responsible for Mr. Crum-Ewing's death, and this is what will happen and all of that? Do you have any confidence that that would happen before the 11th of May?
Well, I don't want to speculate on what the police would do. As I said to you earlier, over the nearly a decade and a half ago, we never had any resolution by the police as to who the killers of a lot of those, hundreds of those persons were. And as I said to you, we are prepared to give the police a reasonable time within which to conduct their investigations. And at the end of which, if there is no identification of perpetrators, then we, as I said, suggest to you, we have to go the route of going to the court and ask the court to set up commission inquests. Let inquests by coroners be conducted so that we could examine the question as to how, when, where, and how he met his death, Courtney met his death.
Okay. And as someone who's also been doing a lot of work on the ground, do you get, because I had asked Mr. Williams this, but do you get the sense that people are still willing to publicly proclaim and support opposition, support the APNU AFC alliance, despite there is some sort of fear lingering in the air?
Once again, good afternoon, and Malika, to your question, I would wish to say that yes, the general masses out there, they are willing to give their support to the APNU AFC. I mean, we would have seen from the crowd response last Wednesday, it was Wednesday we buried Courtney. Yes, last Wednesday at Courtney's funeral, we saw, great numbers of persons attending that funeral. And outside of that, I mean, we have been conducting a number of work in the communities. I work specifically in the East Rumveld communities. And believe you me, the cry of the people is that despite what they would have done to Courtney, they will not budge. They will continue to throw their support behind APNU AFC.
What is the most glaring or the issue in your constituency that we would need to address almost immediately?
Well, obviously, housing is a major problem because in that constituency, you recognize that we have a number of persons who are living on the government reserve. So that is one of the major problems I would want to see an APNU AFC government addressed, because from the feedback given is that persons, even though they applied for house lots some years ago, they either have been denied or because of the high cost in these house lots, they're unable to make payments. So that would be my first suggestion to the APNU AFC government. We have to do something, either review the whole allocation or the payment system that currently exists under the PPPC government to see how best we can remedy this whole, we call it again, house lot payments.
All right. Viewers, if you're now tuning in, of course, this is Facing the Nation. And today we're discussing a number of matters here with Mr. Williams and Ms. Ferguson. And we'll now move on to some other issues. I'll try to open up the phone lines a little earlier so that you can pose your questions. You didn't get to do that last week, so I'm going to give you a chance to do that this week. Mr. Williams, we had a very active week in terms of the media, in terms of reports about the presidential candidate, Brigadier David Granger. One of the things coming to light is where he's being accused of, not in so many words, but he's being accused of lying to the public in terms of the confirmation of the police commissioner. Mr. Granger is saying that he was not consulted in the meaning, in the understanding of consultation according to our constitution, but we've heard sentiments from Dr. Luncheon and from Mr. Nandlal saying that he was consulted. There were consultations. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, I disagree with the contentions of the Attorney General and the President on this score, and I support Brigadier Granger's assertion that he was not consulted, and that consultation has to be within the meaning of our constitution, which provides for meaningful consultation. In fact, it's a recent amendment to our constitution which recognized that the mischief before that was that a person who was required to consult picks up the phone and calls who is supposed to be consulted and say, well, I'm supposed to consult you, and I have consulted you. And that's the end of the matter. So to prevent such things, what the Constitution has done now is to provide for a system of arriving at meaningful consultations. It requires a sit-down between the two persons. So the president, the leader of the opposition, will have to sit down, face each other, and deliberate on the matter that requires consultation. They have to sit down and do the people's business.
And as far as you know, that wasn't done.
That was not done, and in fact, it would not be the two of them alone in the room. There would have to be a scribe or a note taker, because a record is required by the Constitution to be made of such consultations. And that record would have to be archived, so that it would have to be kept for purposes of obviously posterity and the like. Nothing like that has occurred between President Ramatar and Brigadier Granger, the leader of the opposition, with respect to the Commissioner of Police. I understand, and a letter was sent to the leader of the opposition indicating that they were prepared to confirm the commissioner, and the leader of the opposition queried whether the commissioner was the person who recommended the appointment of policemen below the rank of inspector who were fingered for torturing that young Guyanese citizen a couple of years ago. And I can assure you that the leader of the opposition believes that if the Commissioner of Police had in fact recommended such policemen for promotion, then he could be someone who could properly lead the Guyana Police Force. And the motto of the Guyana Police Force is to protect and serve the people of this country, not to torture them. And so that letter, I think he was advised to write to the Police Service Commission or the Commissioner of Police. The thing is that the jurisdiction of the Police Service Commission is in relation to promotions from the rank of inspector and above. And below that is the Commissioner of Police. And these ranks were not inspectors, they were below the rank. And the matter didn't move from there. You know, the matter didn't move from there. So there has been no opportunity and no request by the president. He has sent no letter to the leader of the opposition stipulating a date where he's inviting the leader of the opposition to go and sit down with him to conduct the people's business of confirming the police commissioner within the meaning of the constitutional provision of meaningful consultation.
I know you're not a mind reader, but do you believe that the opposition leader, the presidential candidate, would he have agreed to confirming Mr. Silal Prasad?
Well, it's a question of principle, and you know his principles. Mm-hmm. He has said that if in fact the Commissioner of Police had recommended these ranks who were fingered for such a heinous crime of torturing that young man, then there couldn't be persons who were considered fit and proper to hold such a post of an organization that is so pervasive in Guyanese society, and an organization that was configured to serve and protect the citizens of this country.
All right. Finally, before we come off of this topic and before we have to take a quick break, viewers, and get me correct, I'm not saying that it is going to happen, but would it be constitutional, sir, or legal for an APNU AFC government, even though you've already said that you're not on a witch hunt, but would it be constitutional for you to revoke that confirmed position?
Well, that's something that one would have to review. And achieving government, any new government will now have to review many things.
Okay.
And the question of review would obviously come up in relation to the Commission of Police, who holds a pivotal position in this country to maintain law and order and the like. So, and to preserve the peace and to investigate crime and all those things. So we can't have an organization whose remit is to investigate crime, and the persons who are supposed to investigate crime, in fact, are committing crimes themselves against the people.
Okay.
So those are things that one would have to obviously look and reconsider.
All right.
But bearing in mind that the Commissioner of Police is appointed by the Police Service Commission.
All right, understood. Viewers, this is Facing the Nation. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I'll open up the phone lines and we'll talk just a bit more. Stay with us. We're back with you, and of course, thanks for staying with us. Those of you who are now joining, welcome. Before we go to the phone lines, lady and gentlemen, one of the things again raised earlier this week, regarding comments and statements made by the presidential candidate, APNU AFC presidential candidate Brigadier David Granger, is the fact that the public has now gotten the sense that the notion that an APNU AFC administration will go ahead with an Amaila Falls project. Of course, you're going to have elements of the PPP pushing propaganda saying that APNU and AFC don't know where they stand regarding this project because in the parliament it was voted down. Mr. Williams, provide some clarity on why it seems now that APNU AFC will support an Amaila Falls project.
Well, thank you, Malika. It doesn't seem so. It is a PPP pushing out that position.
Okay.
You know, it's the silly season. They're looking minutely at everything that the leader of the opposition says at this present time because he's the presidential candidate. Our position has always been with respect to any project brought to the parliament by this government or any project that they wish us to support, that it must be transparent. And you would appreciate that our problem was that we were never given the details in relation to any project so that we would be in a position to make a considered opinion about the projects and whether we should support or reject them. And it's on that basis that we really did not support most of the projects because they were thwarted in darkness and they never really came into the light. And so, as we are children of light, they will have to pass that crucible and bring all the matters that are related to such projects, bring them under the full glare of the light. And that's what Brigadier Granger is saying to them, that once the details of any project come under the light and an assessment could be made of the viability of the project, then we certainly would sign on to the project. And that also goes for Amaila Falls. That's all he was saying.
All right. And finally, before we go to the phone lines, Ms. Ferguson, I know at an earlier press conference you raised the point because this is where the debate that took place in the National Assembly came in regarding Amaila Falls. We'd like to hear from you.
Yes. As was said earlier, is that, the PPP, they continuously boast about the Amaila Falls project. But I just want to remind Guyanese that when that bill came to the National Assembly, it wasn't the actual hydro project bill.
Okay.
That bill dealt specifically with the environment surrounding the Amaila area. So for the PPP to say and to continue to say to the Guyanese public that, well, look, the APNU AFC, they were the ones who voted against the project. It wasn't the project, viewers. It had nothing to do with the project. But as the Brigadier said, when the APNU AFC takes government, we will review and ensure that the project is birthed into marvelous light,
according to Mr. Chairman here.
Exactly.
Viewers, our phone lines are now open. Please be as brief as you possibly can. Be respectful. And, of course, turn the volumes of your television sets down. I understand that this is political season. In Guyana, we call it, and Mr. Williams rightly said earlier, it's silly season. And silly things are going to happen. Silly things are going to be said. But please keep them off the airwaves and off of our telephone lines. Caller, welcome.
Hello, good day.
Good day to you.
Good day.
Good day to Mr. Williams.
Good day.
And to Sister Dale too.
Good day.
What I want to say is that you were saying that you won't be witch hunting. I don't think witch hunting is trying to get back taxpayers' money and make these men feel the penalty for the wrong they did to the Guyanese people. And I think the Guyanese people would not be satisfied if you don't follow these people up, get back taxpayers' money for the corruption and ensure their jail.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Thank you very much for that, caller. Mr. Williams, you'd like
I
to
support the caller. He's right on the mark.
Okay.
We would not be witch hunting innocent people.
Caller, welcome. Yes, good afternoon to you, Malika. And
good afternoon.
Good afternoon to everyone on the panel.
Good afternoon.
Since long, I really want to share this actually to comment on this. Most of the young policemen on the west side, right? They're claiming that they're not voting because they were told by their seniors that if they vote, the government would know. So I'm not asking.
If they vote what? Sorry, repeat that for me.
They vote against the government, they would know, right? So I'm just asking if you can just shine some light on that because I don't think they know that the taxpayers of this country pay them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Very good question.
Well, that's fallacious. Notwithstanding that they vote separately and on a different day for obvious reasons that they would vote before because they have to work on actual election day. Their votes are not counted within the precincts of the disciplinary forces. But in fact, they are taken to GCOM and they mixed up. And they are all, from all the stations, they're taken together mixed up. And so when the vote is done, nobody could say, well, this person voted from station A or station B. You know, we have hundreds of stations throughout the country and discipline forces units. So it's a lie for them to say that you know how they voted. And you shouldn't believe that, and you must go and freely cast your vote for the party of your choice. I would implore you that choice should be a partnership for national unity and alliance for change.
And if I may,
Sure, Annette.
if I may add, it is no way that the government or even our presidential candidate would know who voted for who. Because we know that on elections day, when you visit the polling station, all that you're required to present is your identification card. When that is done, they would more or less compare what is on your card with the voters list and have your name ticked off. When you go into that booth, it is just you and God. And when you place your X to the party of your choice, no one knows. So it's not a case whereby when I exit the box, the voting box or the voting booth, there's someone sitting there to say that, well, look, Ferguson voted for APNU or AFC. There's no way that can be found out. So I just want to support the point that my colleague made earlier.
Okay. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am very young.
You need to speak up for me, please.
Good afternoon. I'm a very young Guyanese,
Yes.
age of 31.
Okay.
And I reside in the South Georgetown area where Mrs. Ferguson would do her thing there.
Okay.
And I'd like to congratulate her because she do get a lot of young people to come out and to be on the alert of what is going on in our country.
Okay.
But what I'm saying, I just cannot wait until May 11 to come to get rid of Ramsey and his cabal out of office. We are so depressed in this country.
Yeah.
Our main focus in my community is drainage. You know, whenever there is rain for 5 minutes or so, you would get water into your homes, stuff like this. So our main focus, our main interest, drainage in our area. But I would like to see the APNU to work on that when they get into office and to even to get the trenches clean on the front road here.
Okay.
Along the east and west there also. So I just want to let you know that I'll be voting for APNU on May 11th. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Caller, welcome.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I would like to ask one question. I mean, I have more than one, but concerning the inquiry, I mean, the innocent people are getting dead. What the police need to do is to, get these protesters and inquire from them confidentially, if they go on the street by themselves or if, people force them to go there because I'm sorry, to know that they are being killed. And the inquiry for Linden, I have watched that inquiry and I have seen they didn't get enough support. The support wasn't enough for them. And the other thing, I have a relative going to the university and the talk is there that Prime Minister candidate hasn't recognized us yet in that party because the youth are saying it's a total slap in the face. So I really don't know how,
Caller, your point on UG, we're not getting you clearly. Could you repeat that, please? You're a bit distorted.
No, I'm saying that the youth there, I have a relative going there, and the youth there, they're not, fully acquainted of what is going on with the prime ministerial post there, because they said it's like a total slap in the face, they are saying, So, I wonder what...
Caller, which which prime ministerial post? You're not coming over clearly. What is a slap in the face? What are you talking about?
No, the opposition, the prime ministerial post. Apparently, the youth there are saying, that they're not satisfied with that position the guy has been got.
Okay.
All right.
Could have been somebody else there,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. I know Mr. Williams will address both issues, but before he does, first off, viewers, we have seen so many atrocities committed in our society. No one, no group, no political party. Well, we know the PPP has done it, but we don't, especially opposition, we don't have to force persons to go out on the road and protest. They do it on their own because our nation is suffering. The people that you see on the streets with the placards, no one forces them to do that. So in terms of investigations being conducted, the police don't have to go to protesters and ask them who sent you out on the street to protest. Our Guyanese people are very, very intelligent. You don't have to tell them to do that. They feel that they've been treated unfairly and they're suffering in our nation, and the next best thing, legal thing for them to do, is to pick up a placard and go on the streets and protest, just to try to see if the PPP will listen to them. Of course, I'll hand the rest over to Mr. Williams.
No, well, I approve of your message.
Thank you, sir.
They have a right to demonstrate peacefully. I'm not sure. I didn't really hear clearly what that caller said.
Yeah. Caller is still a bit confused on your second point, but you probably can try calling us after the program and explain if it is you're a bit hesitant to speak up. Caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon to panel and yourself. Don't worry with that woman. That woman is calling Mr. Sharma program, and she's very disturbed. Don't worry with her. Please go on with the program. Let's hear it.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all, ma'am? I guess it is. Thank you for the warning.
Well, she's clarified.
Caller, welcome to you.
Hello, pleasant good afternoon to you.
Same to you, sir.
No, I'm calling in connection with all the corruption that is being perpetrated in our nation, right? Now, if these guys are supposed to be brought to justice, do we have sufficient prisons to put them in? Because you're aware that Camp Street is rammed beyond capacity. Where would we put this? Are we building 10 new prisons to accommodate these guys? Because these guys don't concern about anybody at all. They're doing what they want. And they have Camp Street as though because they're above the law. They don't commit crime. So I'm saying to you, where would we put these guys? Do we plan to build 10 new prisons to accommodate all these guys when the opposition goes into power?
Thank you, caller.
Okay.
Wow, 10. That's a lot, Mr. Williams. We need you here.
Well, I mean, he's saying 10, but the message in what he's saying is that there are a lot of people, in his opinion, that have to end up in prison. And I think he's talking about people in the current administration, PPP government. I think it's the same theme of the earlier caller, but no witch hunting when people have taken the state resources. Our position in a partnership for national unity is, and I dare say the Alliance for Change, is that persons who are suspected of misappropriating public funds would have due process. That they will have to, if they have reasonable suspicion that they have misappropriated such funds, they will be able, in the criminal justice system, to have a fair trial, a fair hearing under Article 144 of the Constitution, which guarantees such a trial before an impartial tribunal. There will be nothing different. There's nowhere that an APNU, AFC government will be pursuing innocent people to set them up as criminals. I could tell you now that I could only see a course of criminal prosecution against persons who are reasonably suspected of having committed such an offense.
Caller?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Your volume is too loud, sir.
Hold on a minute, please. I want to talk to the people on the East Coast, especially Lusignan and LBI, that I want to remind them that the PPP, the other minister, that it is what's his name, they get murder in LBI. And they got about 12 children murder in Lusignan and Lindo Quick and Bartico and Linden. And hard to know they didn't get an inquiry for them things. After the jail break, they got no inquiry for her. But they bring back inquiry for Walter Radney. And as far as I'm concerned, it was a little while when Walter Radney died. I could remember that. And when I assess this whole thing and look at it, Walter Radney killed his own self. But they had nothing to do with Walter Radney because which government or which president would have a poor man to go and go down county jail or go down jail in the country? And then they had nobody with him, but the one brother collect the thing and give it to him. So why they bury him born now? So nobody, you don't have somebody to question, look at you. But for too long, we have one government doing that for 22 years. We should break that spell. That spell needs to break. Some kind of organization. Let us make a change. We need a change. Look at the outside world, the developing world. There's changes all over the places. We shouldn't keep the PPP anymore in our office anymore, not another chance, not a day or a minute more after the 11. They must get out. They're too disturbing this country. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, sir. And a perfect call. We can't add anything more to that. Caller, welcome.
Well, I could ask him to continue the cross-examination of Donna Rodney.
Yes, you can. He can
On
help
Monday.
you, Mr. Williams. Yes, caller, you're on the air.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Just good afternoon to your panel. Just like to refuse Mr. Williams and please find out this country has a lot of corruption. And if within the ministry upstairs, if he knows if the police get risk allowances for a firearm, if all policemen and women get risk allowances, I'm not too sure about that. That's why the country is so corrupt.
Oh.
That's why the country's on.
So corrupt. Thank you, caller. I don't know if Mr. Williams, would you like to comment further on the matter?
Not really, because I'm not sure why they would have risk allowance when, in fact, the very nature of their employment is one of risk, since they have to confront crime and they have to investigate crime. So if there's a risk allowance, no doubt that could possibly be built in to the remunerative packages, but I can't profess to say that I have more than a passing knowledge of the current remunerative package of policemen. But I would believe that the job in itself, being a policeman, inherent in that job, is risk-taking.
Okay. Caller, welcome. Caller, are you there?
I'm here.
But let me say that is
One
not the
second,
solution, because what this is, you have to pay the policemen properly in this country. Policemen and women, they have to be paid living wages so that the corruption that the caller alluded to would be certainly reduced or minimized. But the basic starting point, in the case of all public servants, nurses, teachers, the traditional public servants, they must be paid a living wage. And I can assure you, an APNU, AFC government would be given the highest priority to such living wages for public servants of this country.
Caller, are you there?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I've been enjoying the program. While at the same time we understand that there's so many things happening, there's so many things that need to be fixed, I just would like to, for the opposition to at least try to encourage the youth, because at the end of the day, we have so many things to do. But if the youths, and I think that is where, more interest needs to be stressed. I must commend the work and everything. That's my party. That's where I'm going to be putting my X come May 11. But I just think if we could encourage the youths to vote,
that would do us a little bit more. That would, push us ahead a little.
Agreed, caller.
You understand? All right then. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much for that.
Welcome.
All right. Viewers, our time is going quickly. I'm going to ask Annette to comment on some of the things that we've been doing in terms of the youth. We just have about 5 or 6 minutes left in the program. I'll also try to take at least maybe 2 brief callers before we have to begin to wrap up. Annette, you want to talk quickly about youth approach to encouraging youth, and the caller, did raise a good point.
Well, Malika, I must say that in the Partnership for National Unity along with the AFC, we have been doing a lot of work in the various communities, trying to meet young people, educating them about their rights to vote, and if they vote for change, a government of their choice, which is the APNU AFC, we would ensure that they're provided with a better education, better jobs, better wages and salaries, better sporting facilities, all the likes, right? But yes, youths are the major player in this 2015 elections. And I just want to say to you viewers out there, especially parents, mothers and fathers, you have a role to play, because the future belongs to those young people. And if we don't get them out there come May the 11th, trust me, the situation would remain just as it is 3 years ago. So I just want to encourage young people to get out there in your numbers and let's vote. Let us vote like a boss. Just like what the Guyana National Youth Council has been preaching, let us go out there on May the 11th, 2015 and vote like a boss.
All right, I can only take one other call before we have to go. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your final call for today.
Okay, and good afternoon to the panel.
Good afternoon.
I'm calling concerning a couple person that called in before. The fellow was saying being a prison for them, but they got to go right in those same prisons to the people that they have wrongfully so they could deal with them. Because I personally know they have people in there that they did wrong and they did not do nothing, and in there praying and waiting for the day when God will release them.
Understood, caller.
I know that y'all is doing a good job and keep doing it. All eyes will be out because we're looking out and we're looking with peace.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you for that. Thanks to that caller and to all our callers. I know the phone lines are still going, but unfortunately, folks, I can't take any more because we're out of time. Before we go, some wrap-up sentiments from lady and gentleman, beginning with lady, of course.
Well, thank you very much, Malika. I mean, on Wednesday, we laid Courtney Crum-Ewing, and we know exactly what he was preaching there last Tuesday. So even though he has gone to the great beyond, his words will still remain with us. So come May the 11th, I encourage all Guyanese to get out there and vote for change. It is time for David Granger, it is time for Moses Nagamutu, and it is time for APNU and AFC. Thank you very much.
Well said, Mr. Williams.
Well, it is time, comrades. It is time for democracy, for us to restore democracy and for us to restore the rule of law in Guyana. So we could reduce crime, cut down crime, eliminate crime, suicides, all these killings, the murders, extrajudicially or else. And so it is important that we get, again, we reconstruct the society and create a lawful society and remove from the lawlessness that is now pervading this country. So we urge you to contribute to that state of change and come early to the polls on May the 11th and vote solidly for a partnership for national unity and the Alliance for Change.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Annette Ferguson, of course, youth leader, and I have to say former member of parliament. And of course, Mr. Basil Williams, attorney at law, Deputy Speaker and Chairman of the People's National Congress Reform. Thank you both for being here. And viewers, the only other thing that I can add is take care of yourselves, be good Guyanese citizens, and of course, join me again next time. I am Malika Ramsey. This has been Facing the Nation.